is recorded, and so all the things like even the in-call messages are also being recorded, and so I can see those students who are participating. Okay, sige. So last meeting we have discussed the definition. Sorry, Can you see it? So last meeting we have defined what is security, and also we identify that security is a state of being free from fear or from hazards. Okay, no? And we have defined also hazard last meeting as, why is it that my slide is not working? Can you see it? Ano nakikita ninyo?
Yes, ma'am. Makita, ma'am.
Definition of security?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Wala naman po, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. Medyo hina yung aking ano. Sige. This one. Okay. So last meeting also we have defined hazard. Okay. And when we say hazard, it's a condition that may cause damage to property, injury, or loss of life. And exposure to the chance of loss or injury is also hazard, and it's either caused by man or by nature. So, and the last time we also discussed why security is important. So security is important, talking about the economic part of socio-economic part or aspect of our country. Security is important because, as what I have mentioned, sino ba ang gustong mag-invest sa bansa na hindi secure yung kanyang pera, diba? So that is why it's very important to make a particular country or even our community safe. It's because if the country is safe or if our community is safe, there are a lot of investors na gustong mag-invest sa lugar natin. Okay. And sabi natin, the security could impede the growth of our country. It is because we cannot deny the fact that there are two types of threats in our country. We have the internal, which is consists of the communist aggressions. Ito, dito papasok yung ating mga NPA. Kumbaga, yung even crimes and criminality is also considered as an internal threat. Diba? Another concern is kung halimbawa sa lugar ninyo medyo magulo yung mga community, mga kapitbahay mo doon, diba? Who would like to invest in that particular area. So that's considered as an internal threat. Now we also have the external threat, which is, ito yung ating sinasabi ko last time, no? Na ito yung ating threat sa mga ibang bansa. So that is why, as what I have mentioned, na our President Duterte, medyo okay yung kanyang strategy na nakipagkaibigan siya sa Russia and sa China. It's because if kalabanan natin yun, we cannot actually, I am like 100% sure na hindi natin kayang kalaban yung mga ganun kalalaking bansa. Although kung si President natin, good ang strategy na yun. Pero minsan, napapansin niyo na ano rin, parang yung mga bansa like the China, parang sumusobra na rin kasi may mga, like sa Spratly Island, diba, there are concerns with regards to the occupation of the tawag nito, the Chinese in our country, parang baka in the next few years, baka puro Chinese na ang nandito sa Pilipinas kasi yun, isa siguro sa mga nakikita nila kasi they are helping our country. So, ganun kasi ang politics. Siyempre, di ba, kung ikaw may tutulungan ka, even though hindi mo sinasabi na you expect a return, pero kung ikaw naman na tinulungan, parang you cannot say no naman kasi tinulungan ka. So that's actually the problem with the Filipinos. No? Parang mabilis tayo or hindi natin nakakalimutan yung upang kaloob. And actually, that's actually considered as a problem and as a threat na rin. Okay. Now, with regards to these threats, no, the PNP or the Philippine National Police takes responsibility in the supervision, control, training, and operation of security agencies and the issuance of license to operate and the license to practice the security profession. So as what I have mentioned last meeting, na although security officers are not equal with the PNP, it's because of una, yung qualification sa security officer. You can join the security agency even if you are a high school graduate as long as you possess the license. While the PNP naman, they need to be a baccalaureate degree holder. Now, even though security officers are like medyo at par with the PNP, still it is the PNP that trains them. So it is as if they are also considered as, kumbaga, ano tawag na ito, helper or ano ba yung tamang term na pwedeng kaakibat, kaagabay ng PNP sa pagpapatupad ng mapayapang bagsak or mapayapang komunidad. So, kumbaga, the trainings, the learnings that you are getting is not from any agency but from the PNP itself, kung saan ang main purpose ng PNP is to serve and protect. So, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na security officer lang kasi take note, they are being trained by the best police officers. Okay? So, we also define some terms like industry, industrial, management, industrial security, and also industrial security management. So, when we say industry, we're talking about group of workers. If you are working in a company in which this company is for the purpose of doing katulad na lang ng mga tsinelas, ano pa ba, baso, bote, we consider that as industry. So it's a special branch of productive work for the capital or workers employed in. So dito sa Takuro, anong alam niyo na industry? Yung masasabi natin na pag sinabi kasi natin industry, usually umaabot ng mga 200 above ang kanyang workers.
Mall po, ma'am.
Yung mall, are they manufacturing? Usually, ang industry kasi is more, yes, pwede siguro ang mall, no? Ilan ba? Dito sa Tacorong or sa lugar ninyo?
Factory. Mga factory, ma'am.
NFA. Planta, ma'am.
NFA,
Planta,
yes,
ma'am.
yun, no? Yung mga planta.
Alam ba yung ng banana factory, banana industry?
May banana industry, which is, I think that's Del Monte. Tama ba po?
Dole po.
Yes,
Dole
Yes.
po, ma'am.
Yes, tama. Yung Dole Hill sa Tacorong, sa Pulubulo, no? Yung pineapple. Yan. So, that's an example. Okay. We also have in Tacloban, we have the palm oil industry dito banda sa may malapit sa SKSU. Kung saan, hindi lang natin alam, they are actually producing tons of palm oil. So, yun. And before, I thought na ang palm oil is medyo, kung compare mo siya sa coconut oil, syempre, mas mahal si coconut oil. Mura si palm oil. It's because siguro of the syempre the nutrients na makuha mo and also the process, ganun ba ang reason. But as to the health benefit niya, meron din namang health benefit ang palm oil. So ganun, that's also another industry here in Tacloban. So, and there are a lot more. So, meron tayong mga chinelas, entertainment industry, kung saan, pag sinabi mong entertainment industry, it includes all artists, mapa-music, mapa-dance, or even, yung mga comedies, yan. So that's still considered as industry. When we say industrial naman, this is of course those who are related to, yes? Gerald? So pertaining to or engage in the industry is considered industrial. So kaya kung halimbawa ako I am connected with the entertainment industry and so I am an industrial worker. So kadalasan kasi pag sinabi ng industrial worker parang mababa ang tingin natin pero actually it's not. Kasi ang alam lang natin na pag sinabi ng industrial worker, factory dayon, which is only one example of the industrial workers. Marami pa yun. Okay? Management is of course, because you are dealing with people as much as possible, there is a need for a management. So management is skillful use of means to accomplish a purpose. Like if you are working in an entertainment industry, your purpose is of course to entertain the people. And so you need to manage your workers properly for them to give quality entertainment. And that's what I call management. The industrial security naman is of course those workers who are working in the security in order to provide protection, in order to provide security for private individuals, business, government, and non-government. And when we say industrial security management, this is of course skillful handling of security and safety measures of business enterprises and individual establishments. So, kumbaga, our security guards here are industrial security officers and yung kanilang head ang ginagawa niya in order to make sure that the security and safety of the employees of SKSU is kumbaga at 100% being manifested or implemented, and so they need industrial security management. So kung yun na nga ang sabi ko sa inyo, if you are a graduate of ISM, you could be an industrial security officer, or you could be the manager. Meaning to say, you will be managing those security officers. Yan. Now, since security officers are responsible in making sure that everyone is safe and secure, they need to, of course, implement safety measures. And when we say safety measures, we are talking about the active and the passive. So pag sinabi natin active, meaning to say, ito yung ginagawa talaga, merong kumbaga physical na andyan. Okay, example of that is physical barriers. Example ng physical barrier. Example ng physical barrier, dito papasok yung ating mga fence, mga kudal. Active measure yan siya kasi andyan. We also have the security lightings, safes, bolts, locks, and other devices and gadgets designed to detect and impede hazards. We also have the passive measure, those that will determine from committing such acts for fear or being caught or charged in court to get dismissed. This includes security education programs. Yan. Passive in the sense that hindi naman always safe security education programs. Minsan, isa lang yan, one time lang yan, pero you will learn something from it and then you can impose it, you can implement it. So, yung educating ourselves in securing lives, securing property is a passive measure kasi you already have that knowledge. Security investigation. So, if you have the knowledge of investigating, like, kasi nga sa subject, sa kurso ninyo, you will also be taught fundamentals of investigation and intelligence. And so that's a passive measure of making sure that everyone is safe and secure. We also have the fire prevention seminar, safety drills, and personal security checks. So, halimbawa, the thought of having security officer, halimbawa, tayo, naiisip natin na may gagawin tayong kasalanan or may gagawin tayong masama. Pero iniisip pa lang natin na ay, bakit may security guard dito, hindi ka lang. So that actually is considered as a passive measure. Kumbaga, walang bang ginagawa, kumbaga, hindi mo physical na nakikita, but you are afraid to do it because you are thinking, ay, baka mahuli ako or baka anong mangyari sa akin. Yan. And that's passive measure. Now, we also define some terms. Yan. These terms are actually in relation to the historical background of industrial security in the Philippines. So, I know you have read yung mga patches ng security guard. Siguro next time ang activity ko sa inyo, kung may makita ka mga security guard, picturean nyo ang ilang patch para mabalaan natin kung anong agency siya at kung under ba sa PADPAW. And PADPAW kasi stands for Philippine Association of Detective and Protective Agency Operators. As what I have mentioned last meeting, in other countries, they do not call their, particularly in Europe, they do not call yung mga security officers as security guards, but instead they call them as detectives. In some parts of our country, like in Manila and even in Cebu, meron talagang mga security agencies kung saan ang main na purpose nila or work nila is to detect detective jobs. Like last time, if you could still remember, I have mentioned that halimbawa, ako, may asawa ako, and then I can sense na he is not loyal anymore to me. So I can ask for a private security agency to do detective works for me. So dito sa atin, kasi siyempre hindi pa ganun kaano yung mga tao with regards to the detective agencies, security agencies, kaya parang tingin natin hindi ganun, hindi useful or parang second grade lang nga yung security, yung ISM na kurso. Pero in other countries, mabenta ito. Kasi hindi kayang tugunan or hindi kayang gawin lahat ng police. Kaya they ask help from other agencies. And isang malaking tulong sa kanila actually, ang security agency kasi ang trabaho nila ay the same din sa trabaho ng PNP. So it is a non-stock private organization, meaning to say hindi siya yung pag sinabi non-stock private organization, meaning to say it does not seek for investment, for financial tawag na to, aspiration. It's actually a private organization kung saan it was formed in May 1950. So medyo matagal na ang PADPAO. The creation of the organization and the operation of private detective, watchman, or security agency are or is being mandated by virtue of RA 5487. So it's the law that regulates security agency to operate detective works. Halimbawa, kasi it's somewhat like a business. Yun. Even a school is a business, don't you know? Kasi, syempre, business in the sense that our students are our customers. Kung wala estudyante ang school, hindi po siya mag-grow. Kasi, syempre, although you are not paying the tuition, kasi counted na kayo ng government, kasi di ba may inalat na budget ang government para sa inyo, and so, mapupunta yan dito sa school. So, si school naman, 70% of it will go to the faculty for the salary, to 30% of it will serve as the budget for the improvement of the school and other expenses. Although it is okay with private schools, but public schools, but if you notice, private schools, bakit dumadami ang mga private schools? Kasi it's a business na they can earn from it. So, RA 5487 is known as Private Security Agency. So, if you have planned later to put up your own security agency, it's actually a good business. Like, medyo hindi safe ngayon yung ating community, di ba? And so, if you have the security agency, alam mo, there are how many establishments dito sa Tacurong? And then, kapag natin, meron kang 100 na security guards. So, what if? Okay, may request yung kindly mute, no? John V. Trapa, can you mute your mic? So they have said, if in case meron kayong 100 na security guards, and then yung 100 na establishment na yun, kukuha lahat ng WAGZA sa inyo, ang mangyayari is, the company will pay for the security guard. So, magbabayad sila sa inyo. Or pwede din naman na mag-direct sila sa agency magbayad. Halimbawa, ako, owner. Magbabayad ako sa agency ng ganito. Ang usapan natin, sige, ang one security guard is 10,000. Sige, 10,000 pesos. Now, ngayon, ikaw na security officer, mag-a-apply ko sa akin. Ang sasabihin ko is, okay, ganito. Ang sweldo lang, ang kayang pasweldo lang ng agency sa iyo is only 7,500 plus ang mga SSS benefits, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. So, yun. So, you see, pera na ibabayad ko sa security agency is 10,000. Ang ibabayad ko lang sa security guard is 7,500. Ako na, ikaw na owner ng security agency, you will have 3,500 per security guard. So halimbawa, you have 100 na security guards. 5 times 100. That is how much? Andyan pa ba kayo?
Mga 200K, ma'am.
Okay,
Mga 200K.
25,000, tama ba ako? 25 times 100,
250,000.
So,
250,000
per month, ma'am.
Oh,
250,000, ma'am.
250,000 per month. So you see, the company is earning 250,000 per month. You see that? Can you imagine now the business ng security agency? Hindi ikaw ang magpapasweldo sa security guard, kundi yung company na nag-request sa iyo ng security guard. So magbabayad siya sa iyo, babayaran mo yung security guard, then you can earn. So that's actually the business. And that is how security agencies benefit or tawag nito, that is how they can earn money from having that security agency. So ganun yun siya. Na imagine niyo na. So actually, kung ako I would like to have my own security agency. Kasi it's actually a good business. It's a good business. Ma'am Samuel. Sandali lang ha. So we also have the PC SOSHA, okay, the Philippine Constabulary Supervisory Unit for Security and Investigation Agencies. This was formed as a result of the approval of RA 5487, which directs the Chief PC. Kasi before, guys, bago naging PNP, PC muna, Philippine Constabulary. But by virtue of the creation of RA 6975, the DILG Act of 1990, kung kaya't na-create ang PNP, yung Tri-Bureau. Yung PNP, ano yung pag narinig yung Tri-Bureau, it actually talks about PNP, BJMP, and BFP. So PNP is actually a bureau. Bureau yan siya. So it was later changed to PNP SOSHA when the PC was dissolved. Ito na yung sinasabi ko kasi na-dissolve na siya, naging PNP na siya. And personnel was merged to PNP. So PNP Supervisory Office for Security and Investigation Agency, before it is responsible for the issuance of implementing orders regarding the rules and regulations affecting security agency operation. Now, question ba, sino kaya kasi di ba napansin ninyo, merong mga barel ang security guard, security officer. Napansin niyo ba yon?
Yes,
ma'am. Napansin?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, tanong, sa palagay ninyo, saan sila kumukuha ng lisensya ng mga baril nila? Or sino ang nag-approve ng lisensya ng mga baril nila?
PNP po.
PNP,
Police,
ma'am.
Yes, very good. It's the PNP. Yun. So, kumbaga, even the coordination with the PNP. All the things na ginagawa nila must be under the supervision and control of the PNP. So, kaya, don't you know that dito sa, anyway, this is reality naman, no? If you have a security agency in a particular city, you must have a close coordination with the chief of police of the city also. Yun. Kaya kung may problema ang mga security guard, siyempre, hindi pwedeng pabayaan ng PNP. Kasi bumirang yan sa kanila, babalik yan sa kanila. Kasi remember, they are the one that needs to supervise and control. So, kaya, this is, I do not know, but for sure, yung mga lagay-lagay din na nangyayari. If you are in the security agency, you need also to give your SOP to the PNP. Kasi they will be the ones to assist you. Kaya, anyway, that's politics, no? So at present, the PNP, SAG, ST, or the Philippine Security Agency Guards, or Supervision Division, for the National and PNP, FP, SAG, of Firearm, and so you see, meron talagang naka-assign na intended for firearms and explosives. So it directs the Chief of Police to issue rule and regulation concerning the implementing rules of RA 5887. And take note, this was effective October 3, 1972, and January nagkaroon ng amendment by PDA number 11 and 11A. And again, amended in 2003 with title 2003 Revised Rules and Regulations Implementing RA 5487 as amended. So this was created, it started in 1972, and then nagkaroon ng creation ng PADPAW 1958, nagkaroon ng amendment 1975, and then the last amendment, kasi pag sinabi mong amendment, there are some changes, revisions, may tinanggal, may binago, may dinagdag sa batas. Kung kaya't ang last na amendment nangyari 2003. So kung 2003 pa ang last na amendment, ilang taon na yan siya ngayon? Ilang taon na? 17? 16?
18 po.
18, ma'am.
Kayo, kaedad nito. Tama ba? Hindi.
Yes, ma'am.
Kayong kaedad nito. So meaning, 18 years ago na ang batas natin with regards to the security agency in our country. Sa 18 years, for sure marami nang nangyari. Marami ng pagbabago. Medyo high-tech na ang mga criminal ngayon. And there is a need to amend naman yung batas. Kasi nga, hindi constant ang nangyayari sa mundo natin. So we need to adapt. And the same also with the security guards and security agencies. Now, let us proceed with the types of security customers. As what we have mentioned, security is making sure that we are free, we are far away from hazard. And we have defined hazard as something that could cause us in danger or damage, diba? And so, there are two types of hazards, the natural hazards and the man-made hazards. So when we say natural hazard, of course, this is caused by natural phenomena. And example of this is storm, earthquake, typhoon, floods, fire, and lightning. Now, security officers are not only responsible for making us safe from criminals, from intruders. They should also be responsible in making sure that we are safe even in case of natural calamities or natural hazards. So kaya, kayong mga future security officers, you need also to know the basics of first aid. Kasi halimbawa, dapat marunong kayong lumangoy, marunong kayo ng mga first aid sa lunod, sa sa mga cuts, mga sugat, you need to know. Kasi kumbaga, hindi pwede na mauna ang security guard kagawas or kadalagan in case may arasang natural calamity. So that is abandonment of duty. So, pwedeng matanggalan ka ng lisensya for that, wala ka sa serbisyo. We also have the man-made. And of course, when we say man-made, syempre this is done by individual. Okay, so man-made, which is actually the act of omission or commission, both overt or covert by an individual or group of an individual. So pag sinabi nating commission, ginawa. Omission meaning to say they plan pa lang. Yun. So example of this is espionage. Like when we say espionage, it's an act of spying, and sabotage is an act of destroying. So because of the state of mind of the individual. So halimbawa, may isang pumasok tapos pinagsisiraan ng mga gamit, or even the employee ng school or ng establishment, siya mismo ang sumira. Yan. So you need to make sure that the company is safe. Kaya they need to secure people and the property. It's their responsibility. Okay? So those are the two general types of security hazards. Now, in order for us to avoid those hazards, there are different types of barriers. We have the natural, the human, the animal, structural, and energy. So when we say natural, ano nga ang barrier? Sa inyong pagkakaintindi, ano nga ang barrier?
Sagabal, ma'am. Sagabal.
Harang,
Sagabal. Yan.
Harang.
Harang. Yan,
Opo.
harang. So, in order for us to, kumbaga kung hindi man mapasok, at least mapabagal ang pagpasok ng mga intruders, or hindi kumbaga ang impact ng sakuna ng risk ng
Mabawasan,
hazard,
ma'am.
hindi ganon kabigat. Yes, tama, mabawasan. So we have the natural, human, the animal barrier, the structural, and the energy. We will discuss this one by one. Okay? Again. Now, there are factors to be considered in providing the kind and degree of security. So, kinakailangan maalam natin kung anong klaseng security ang ilalagay natin dito sa lugar na ito or dito sa area na ito. Okay? So, katulad na lang na relative critically, the importance of the product or service that the company is giving or producing. Meaning to say, ano bang klaseng company etong meron ka or etong binabantayan mo? Is it food? Is it mga upuan lang naman? Kasi kinakailangan kung ang binabantayan mo ay pag in case na may mangyari, it could cause great damage sa company, sa ibang tao, then you need to give additional, or you need to add the degree of security na kinakailangan mo. Pero kung halimbawa mga mga bulak-bulak lang mga kailangan mo binabantayan, diba? So unless lang ng mga bulak na worth millions of pesos. Diba? So you need to consider, is it critical? And the other one is relative vulnerability. Meaning to say, is it weak? Pag sinabi mo kasing vulnerable, weak yan eh. How susceptible the establishment for the particular sabotage and espionage. So, weak ba yan? Kasi kung strong naman yan, halimbawa, we have discussed yung mga barriers natin, which later we will discuss further, no? So, halimbawa, oo nga, meron ng malaking alam mo, malaking pera kailangan bantayan dito sa lugar na ito. Pero napapalibutan naman siya ng tubig. Alam mo, sa gitna siya ng dagat. So, ang security dyan, kumbaga, although kailangan naman tight pa rin kasi mabigat, pero the possibility na medyo matagalan ang tao kung hindi may plano siya na magnakaw, hindi siya kaagad-agad nakakanakaw kasi it's in the middle of the sea. And it's an example of natural barrier, no? Yung yung river or yung ocean mismo is considered as a natural barrier. Now, there are factors to consider in providing security for the establishment. We need to consider the shape, the size, and the location. Is the company located in an area na maraming tao? Kasi pag maraming tao, siyempre, you need to increase the level of the security. Kahit damo siyang pwede magnakaw. Another is the number and character of people. Ilang tao ba meron sa company na ito? Kung gamay lang man, siyempre gamay lang po na security, kaya gamay lang man bantayan. Now, kung madami naman, then, siyempre kailangan i-increase ang security. And another is kind of product. Ano ba yung product mo? Is it something that kung manakaw, it could cause a risk sa mga tao, katulad na lang ng gamot, pagpalagay natin, or yung vaccine. Halimbawa, ninakaw ang vaccine. So, anong mangyari ngayon? Pinalitan na yun. So, it could cause grave damage to the citizens. Kaya, we need to establish great level of security. Depende sa kung anong product meron ka. Pero kung ang product mo, kamote, saging, hindi mo gid kailangan sang damo-damo na security. Yung pagkakaroon ng fence is actually a good thing. Kung sinako na nga saging, sinako na nga kamote, kung may taas-taas kada na kudal, yawan na sa pagkapasaka. Diba? So that's actually an example. Okay? Let's proceed with the crimes to look into by public and private security. So since kayo, remember when we say security, we're not only referring to security guards, security officers. We are also referring even to the PNP. Kasi the responsibility, the task of the PNP is also to secure people and property. So, it's just that they are considered, kumbaga sila naman is, ang security officer naman is nasa private. Yung mga PNP naman ay public, PNP, military, public security. Okay? So, katulad ng mga lahas, kailangan ng higpit. Yes, tama. What have you noticed, sandali before I will discuss, like diamonds, tama, no? What have you discussed what have you noticed sa mga jewelry shop? Diba? Aside from tempered glass, may ano pa talaga, may mga grills pagid, diba?
CCTV.
Oo, may CCTV. Aside from
Sensors.
grills, may CCTV, may security guard pa. So, ganun kahigpit yung
Sensors, wow.
May mga sensors pa. So, ganun kahigpit yung kanilang security. Now, kasi nga, di ba, security could be a verb. It could also be a noun. Verb kasi, syempre, you are securing the area. And security could also be the person na responsible for securing that area. So, depende kung paano mo. Kung tatanungin kayo, what is security? Then, security, then, how would you like me to define it? As a verb or as a noun? Kasi, security could be a verb. security could also be a noun. So, depende kung paano. So, kaya kung may magsagot na security is yung the person who is guarding the facility, it's actually correct pa rin. Pero yung mas tamang term kasi na ginagamit natin doon is security guard or security officer, security personnel. Yun. Madaming damo na lang din sa mga terms na nabalaan. So, these are the crimes that the security, even public or private security, should always check, no? We have the espionage. So it's an act of gathering information. Meaning to say, halimbawa, if you are securing a particular company, and then matingala ka na lang, may tao nga always nagasulod. Ano kaya ang purpose niya? Kaya naga-ano niya siya. Always na siya dire. So, that person might be doing, or might be committing espionage. And espionage is an act of gathering information. And the person, espionage comes from a French word espion, which means spy. So this is used to estimate or determine the best possible means of sabotage. Kasi ganito, if may plano akong isabotahe, halimbawa sirain ang kumpanya, so hindi yun basta-basta sira ka na yun. Kailangan mo munang ng information. No? Spy is the agent of espionage. They are very dangerous because of their skills in deception and undercover work. So yung mga spy, they are very dangerous in the sense that you cannot tell whether this person is bad or good. They are waiting for me para sa these are the methods used by the agents of espionage. So how do they do or how do they gather information? Stealing or buying information from the employees. Like if I want to get information from a competitor. Anong company? Selecta. And then, syempre kalabat ko ang ice cream company. Magnolia. So, may bagong i-release na flavor si Magnolia. So, ang gagawin ko is, titingnan ko, hahanap ako ng empleyado ng Magnolia na pwede kong sutulan. Sige, para sabihin sa akin kung ano yun. That's one method ng agent of espionage or not spy. Another, by using various forms of threats or extorting information. Pag sinabi mo, i-threat mo, it could be you threaten the employee or someone, the relative, or the owner, in order to get that information. By means of blackmail, halimbawa, may alam ka about doon sa tao na yun, and so may hinihingi ng information, and kung hindi ka magbibigay, then you threat him with you blackmail him with the information that you have. Yan. Obtaining or gaining information from social gathering. Yan. Yung mga spy na, they gather information by just simply attending social gatherings. By use of fake organization as information. Yan, halimbawa, okay, NGO kami, non-government organization, and we are seeking help for your company because we are your company, stealing records and by means of subversive activities. When we say subversive activities, mga harsh activities that could put our lives or that could put the lives of the employees in danger. So this is espionage. Then we have the sabotage. So, sabi natin, after you gather the information, whatever information you've gathered can be used in order for you to do the sabotage. So, sabotage is an act of destroying, damaging, or any evil motive that will lead to stoppage of the normal operation of the company, factory, plant, or establishment. So it comes from a French word sabot, which means wooden sleeper. Saboteur is the agent of sabotage. Now, anything that could damage or that could stop the normal operation of the company is considered as sabotage. Katulad na lang ng halimbawa, may klase ako. You don't want to attend my class. So, ang ginawa ninyo, pinutol ninyo ang line ng kuryente para kasi I need to charge my laptop or else pag hindi siya naka-charge, hindi ma-on ang computer. So, ang ginawa ninyo, you cut off the line of the electricity and so, hindi na ako makaklase. That's an example of sabotage. Meaning to say, you do something na maka-stop or maka-destroy ng normal operation. Halimbawa, you don't want to attend class. So, ang ginawa mo, ipindot mo ang fire alarm. So, syempre, tingog ang fire alarm. Syempre, akala natin may fire. So, syempre, we do the routine, no? Yung bababa ka, siyempre aalis ka lugar. And siyempre pag ganun, walang klase. That's sabotage. Okay? And there are three types of, the person who do it is called saboteur. And there are three types of saboteur. The enemy agent, the traitorous person, and the irresponsible person. When we say the enemy agent, yung kalaban mo talaga, sinabotahe ka. Halimbawa, example, may crush ka, tapos hindi mo balaan, tumigo mo, crush naman ang crush mo. So, ginsiraan ka na karoon dito sa crush mo. So, that's an enemy agent. Kasi, hindi mo, saan yun? Mas mag-fall yan sa traitorous person. Ang enemy is yung kalaban mo. So, halimbawa, may kalaban ka, akig sa imo, ginutod niya ang brake sa imo, or ginutod niya ang brake sa imo nga spark plug sa imo nga motor, para hindi ka makalakas, o hindi ka makagamit. That's enemy agent. The responsible person, may mga tao na due to negligence, due to being irresponsible, hindi nila namamalaya na nakaka-cause na pala sila ng pag-stop ng normal operation. Kung minsan may mga plus sa katangahan mo because of your irresponsibility, yan. Kaya, imbis na, halimbawa, may program, dahil sa katangahan mo na sandad ka, na utod mo ang wire, yun. That's sabotage. Kaya kung marinig nyo ang sabotage and espionage, at least hindi na kayo makonfuse. Kasi ang espionage, when you gather information, when you do spy jobs, gano'n. Ang sabotage naman is yung may sinira ka na talaga. There are two types of sabotage, the mechanical and psychological sabotage. Now, when we say mechanical sabotage, it's an act wherein they use the object or substance within the area of an establishment. Halimbawa, dole field. Siyempre, pineapple industry, no? fruit, ano yan tawag? Juice. So, example of mechanical sabotage is contamination. Like, you use foreign materials to apply in the establishment. Halimbawa, you wanted to contaminate yung mga juice. So, dapat yellow, binutangan mo sa food color, ma-red. So, nag-iba na. So, syempre, pag nag-red yan siya, hindi na yun, kumbaga, kumbaga, it would cause damage, financial damage to the company. Breakage, halimbawa, may gitanggal ka lang dito ng parts ng machine. Wala man totally ginto ba, pero may gitanggal ka. It's also considered as mechanical sabotage. Substitution, like instead of sugar, ang nilagay mo is asin. Yan. It's another sabotage. Omission, when you omit something, may kinuha ka. Sabi dito, this is committed by means of doing by an individual which can cause destruction inside the company or establishment. So sa substitution, kadalasan may pinalit. Sa omission naman, may tinanggal. May in-omit ka. Alam mo, kailangan ng, sa company na ito, kailangan ng oil. So ang ginawa mo, tinanggal mo yung oil. So that's another sabotage. Abrasive, a special type of contamination by using a type of material that will grind metal. So yun, it's also another sabotage. Explosives, yan. Meaning to say, you wanted to explode. So, kung mababansin ninyo, mechanical sabotage is purely done with the machine, the equipment used. So, we've mentioned that one example of mechanical sabotage is explosive, diba? Explosion. So, there are reasons why explosives become popular to the saboteurs. Number one, because of devastating or damaging effect. Siyempre, pag sumabog yan, very big ang damage. Because of the availability of the delaying device, like hintayin ko muna na pumasok talaga siya sa opisina or yung kalaban ko andyan talaga sa opisina bago ko pasubugin. Yan. May timer siya na pwede mong i-delay or pwede namang i-advance yun. Evidence will disappear and very hard to find. Because explosion could cause fire, kaya pag explode yung evidences, mawawala rin. And meron tayong mga explosives na ginagamit. We have the low intensity explosive and the high intensity. So, low intensity explosives is very sensitive to heat and it can explode by means of fire, friction, or spark. And siyempre from the word low, ang damage niya, hindi din ganon ka laki. We also have the high intensity explosive, which it may be detonated by means of shock, jarring, or shake. Alam mo, high intensity, nilagay mo, gamay lang na uyog, gamay lang na jarring, shock, magsabog. So that's actually high intensity explosive. Okay? Are you raising your hand, my concern? Would you like to add or ano ba? Wala. Okay, let me continue. Now, talking about high intensity explosives, we have examples here, no? The dynamite, the TNT, the plastic explosives, the Molotov bomb, and the stench bomb. So, dynamite is from a liquid which is manufactured and usually homemade and popularly used by illegal fishermen and miners. Don't you know that it was, ano nga ang pangalan ni Nobel? Albert Nobel or ano ba? Yung nagbibigay ng Nobel Prize Don't you know na siya ang nakadiscover ng dynamite? And because of his creation, actually, na ano niya, na naka-create siya ng something that could cause destruction. Kaya, in return, gumawa siya ng Nobel Prize niya na ang mga tao mag-invento ng mga bagay-bagay, okay, mga outstanding na mga inventions para, this is only based on what I have heard, no? You can verify that the information is not 100% sure verified. But this is based also on the story na binigay sa akin. Na in order para ma-appease yung kanyang mind, yung kanyang conscience, kaya na-establish siya na Nobel Prize. Kasi he invented, he created something that could cause destruction. And that's dynamite. The TNT or the trinitrotoluene, okay, which is very popular sa military. Ito yung ginagamit talaga noon na sabog. We also have the C4, the plastic, Molotov. So these are bombs. The stench bomb naman is chemical is carried out by the racketeers and with this agreeable odor. So ito, hindi siya sumasabog, pero it actually produce disagreeable odor. Yung mabaho na maabot sa point na magsuka ka. Yan. So kadalasan ito yung mga ginagamit sa mga riots para hindi sila mamatay, pero yan naman. Because magkakaroon sila ng problema sa kanilang paghina.
Ang disperse na ilang.
Yan. So, stench bomb, a small bomb designed to give off a foul odor when it explodes. Yan. So, prastang baog nga, itlog. Yan, ihaboy mo. Diba, kung masimutan mo mga suruka kakit. So, that's an example. So, how much more kaya sa stench bomb? Kasi kung makikita niyo sa mga military operations, no, mga SWAT, if you're watching mga movies, may mga tinatapon na kung minsan may mga victims or yung mga tao nag-asurot ka because of the foul odor. Okay? We also have here, yan, these are the components minsan of the stench bomb. The zinc valerate, the valeriana acid, the butyric acid, and the hydrogen sulfide. So these are some common components of stench bomb. Okay. We also have arson. And when we say arson, it's the malicious burning of one's property. So, may mga nagsasabotahe na they set fire sa company. So, ang purpose nila, ng objective nila, fraud. Okay, losing by burning the property, they can recover from losing. Yan. Revenge, ano ba, may galit sa may-ari ng company, so pwede na lang sinigin. Or it could be because of pyromaniac. May mga empleyadong pyromaniac. When we say pyromaniac, it's a person who is fond of looking fire. Anong pala siya? He gets satisfaction, gratification by simply seeing fire. Especially kung dakot-dakot na. So, nag-gratify siya, nasa-satisfy siya. So, may mga ganong rason kung bakit they set property, they set company into fire. So, fire is also other reference. They call it also as combustion, which is defined as a chemical process by which heat and flame will come out. So, fire and combustion are sometimes synonymous. Okay. Other authors, other experts, they are using it interchangeably. Now, what are the causes of fire? Bakit nagkakaroon ng sunog? Or ano ba? Ano ba kadalasan ang cause ng sunog? Okay. It's because of the flame, the gas, or the electricity. Kadalasan ito yung mga nakikita natin or naririnig natin, no? Yung faulty wiring or octopus, ano ba yan? Wiring. Kaya nagkakaroon ng sunog. Because of the, yan, mga chemicals, too much heat of the sun, and even the okay. So, if you are a security officer, you need to know what class of fire ang nasusunog. Halimbawa, sa area of responsibility mo, nasusunog. You need to know what class of fire it is para alam mo rin kung paano siya akulain. Katulad na lang ng Class A fire. So, ang Class A fire, it's a class of fire kung saan ang mga nasusunog ay yung mga ordinary combustible materials. Katulad ng papel, ng this is an example of a Class A, combustible material, ordinary combustible material. So, at madali lang itong angkulahin by simply getting water is habulin mo siya. Anong siya? Yun. Pwedeng fire extinguisher. Okay. Or pwede rin naman tubig. Yan. So, meron tayo. We also have the Class B, kung saan ang Class B naman is if the combustible material is liquid. Yan. So, composed of petroleum product. So, what you can do is, ito, blanket to burning materials. Like, basta na blanket, itakluban mo siya. Yan. That is Class B fire. Class C naman is composed of electrical energy. So, meaning, ang nasusunog is electric wires, mga wirings. So, dito, kailangan mo ng fire extinguisher intended for the Class C fire. So, dapat alam mo rin how to use that fire extinguisher. Kasi baka hindi mo alam paano gumamit ng fire extinguisher. Class D, composed or disposed by combustible metal. So, we have the combustible metals. And so, you need to, tulad na lang ng halimbawa, nasusunog. And then, ang mga nasusunog is yung, welding rod, welding machines, yan. So, you need to know how to extinguish those materials. And meron tayong mga different types of fire extinguishers. Pero most of the fire extinguishers can actually extinguish Class A, B, C, or D. Yan. Depende. Makita niyo yan. Sa next meeting, I will bring fire extinguisher para makita niyo. Okay? So, these are the different classes of fire. Now, what is the reason in classifying fire? So, the reason is that in order to determine the type of fire extinguisher to be used, yan yung sabi ko kanina, in order to reduce the burning material, that's firefighting, in order to deal with the weakness of a person, tulad na lang ng, may mga empleyado pa tayo dito na merong mga subversive activities na ginagawa sa company. And also, in order for us to lessen the economic sabotage. So, the activity of the business establishment against the government. Could this cause not only damage to the company, but could also damage the normal operation of the government. So, kailangan nating malaman. Then we have the subversion. So, the objectives of subversive activities, bakit nila ginagawa, is to determine the authority to weaken the organization in order that they can manage or take over the organization. So, ano silang mga subversions or subversive activities? Okay, etong rumor mongering, right? ano ba ang president sa school, ang sina. Siyempre, if that is the thing, pag nagpalabas ka ng mga fake news na yan, pag nagpalabas ka ng mga rumors na yan, masisira mo or ang plano mo is sirain ang integridad, ang dignidad ng tao. And so, with that, it would weaken his, kumbaga kung anong klaseng wall man meron siya, then you would weaken that. Kung kaya, gamay-gamay lang hadlok na sa inyo. Because you wanted to take over the organization. Kung may mga tao na, idemanda ka. May mga ganong tao. That is actually an example of subversion or subversive activity. Propaganda, legal action, armed threat, murder, kidnapping, yan. Even other violent acts are also considered subversion or subversive activities. Then we have the riot. Yan. Kadalasan sa company, because we're in the industry, we are dealing with the workers, the people. Kadalasan, isa din sa mga problema na nangyayari sa mga kumpanya at sa industry ay ang riot. Yan. When we say riot, it refers to the unlawful assembly that resulted to violent disturbance of peace. So, halimbawa kayo, you work in a company tapos bigla na lang nag-riot. So, siyempre, ang mangyayari niyan is walang operation. Diba? So, what are the causes of riot? Kadalasan, it's because of panic of the employees, the strike, and the mob. Ano itong mob? A promiscuous multitude of people, rude and disorderly individuals. Kanang mga, when you say mobsters, kanang kung sa aton sa mga gangs na siya, mga others, the others. So, yan. We have different types of mob, the aggressive, the escape, the acquisitive, and the expressive. When we say aggressive, yung mga daw bully. Mga escape mob, ito yung mga parang panandalian lang. Like, ginin mo ng nila para may takasan sila or para ma-divert ang attention. Acquisitive mob, ito yung they do the riot because they wanted to acquire something. May makuha sila. The expressive naman is they just wanted to voice out kung anong mga hinahin nila. And this is an example of mob. Okay? Then we have the crowd. So, temporary congregation of people. Like, try to imagine. Halimbawa, dapat alas 8 nagtatrabaho. Pero what if ang mga tao kanan sa gawas sa opisina? That's crowd. The temporary congregation of people. So, there are two types of crowd, the physical and psychological crowd. So, physical is, siyempre, parang nagtumpok-tumpok lang. Congregation of people without interest. Yan. The psychological naman, congregation with common interest in a certain thing. Meaning kasi nagtumpok-tumpok ang mga tao na may pareho sa interest. Like, aring tao against ni sila, nagtumpok-tumpok sila, against ni sila sa, halimbawa, Vice President for Finance. So, nagtumpok sila. Yan. So, this is psychological crowd in the sense that, syempre kung ako ang Vice President for Finance, nakita ko ay ako mag-grupo nga to, balaan ko, abot silang akin sa akin. So, basi, nagaplan sila nga i-adhon ako or i-threaten ako or may tinuan sila sa akin. So, it would cause psychological, stress sa akin. So, there are two types of psychological crowd, the casual and the international. So casual, common interest only for short duration, meaning to say they just join because they have common interest. Pero ang nangyayari, nabubuwag din. The international naman is they gather for a long duration, for a long period. So yan, kailangan. If you are police officer assigned in a particular like company or establishment, you need to check on that because basic bala may isa ka member maghambal na sige ano ho nato na siya. So it would cause problem. It would cause danger and it would harm other individuals. We also have pilferage. Okay, petty theft, one of the most annoying and common human hazard. When we say pilferage, may paon kabalan mo, mouse ang pilangan, gindala mo sa balay mo, alcohol, gindala mo, paper, gindala mo, ano pa, kape sa office nyo, gindala nyo. Casual and systematic pilferage. So casual, one who steals due to inability to resist the unexpected opportunity and has little fear that there is detection. So, President, nag-attend ka sa, ano ba? Nag-attend ka sa meeting and then nakapasok ka and then may nakita ka na, uy, namig siya, wala na siya sa imo. And so, gikuha. Kadalasan ng pilferage ang nangyayari sa mga ano, sa mga plantita, anang wala tapos may ginputol ka na. So, that's an example lang ha. Pero sa office, may mga ganun. Itong mga tao na they do not afraid na madakpan sila. The systematic plan who steal with preconceived plan, meaning to say, may plinano na talaga, meron na talagang may plano na talaga, meron na talaga sila na-establish na kung paano nila gagawin. And this is for economic gain. Now you see, sa systematic pilferage, dito papasok yung halimbawa, nag-team up si treasurer at saka si auditor. Yan, pwede yun. Sa casual naman, ito yung gusto mo lang paon mo lang yung mga kape, sa box ng kape, yun, that's casual. So systematic, it's actually pre-planned, preconceived. Meron ng preconceived plan, may nakaplano na sila. Yeah. So this is pilferage. So there are different methods, yeah, like classic method, using fake documents, removal, and disposal. So classic method, simple lang paalam. And then, ito naman, using fake documents, halimbawa, supposed to be may i-attach ka na document na ito dapat. So, ang ginawa mo, kasi systematic siya na pilferage, ibang document ang attach mo. Removal of the item, disposal of the same. So, these are the methods of pilferage. So, there are limiting factors of pilferage. You need to determine the value of the item. Was it very expensive ba or mura lang ba? Dalit lang ba siya matago? And dalit lang ba siya i-transport? Yan. Kasi, katulad na lang sa school, would like magkawat sa computer kay una, dako, mag-agi ka sa guard, makita ka gate. Diba? So, syempre hindi. So, anong kadalasan na hindi makita? Mga mouse, mga keyboard, diba? Sa mga private schools, even sa public schools, may mga ganyan. Nawawala ang keyboard, nawawala ang mouse, nawawala ang webcam, kasi madali lang matago. And this is an example of pilferage. Kadalasan, may mga tao na nagpakamit nito because they are suffering ito. Yan, kleptomania. Kleptomania. Ano yung kleptomania? Ang kleptomania is actually, it's more of a psychological problem kung saan ang taong meron ito, they are fond of getting property ng ibang tao, ng iba. Katulad na lang ng, kumbaga, hindi siya nakaw. Kasi ang kleptomania is, parang they cannot resist na kunin, even if meron na sila. Katulad na lang sa kay Lucy Torres. She was actually identified na merong psychological problem na kleptomania kung saan she cannot resist na magkuha ng mga gamit even if mayaman na siya. Yan. And ang tao na merong kleptomania ay kleptomania. Yan, that's the person. Maniac, mas maisina, basta tao. So there is satisfaction on the part of the person committing a crime. So theft, simple theft, qualified. Okay, theft is, ito, kung may kinuha ka. Halimbawa, nakita mo kwarta. Nakita ka ng kwarta, ginkuha mo, itago mo, walang huli. Don't you know that you are violating yung batas and that's punishable kasi that's simple theft. So, kung may makita ka ng kwarta, that's yung kuha nyo kag wala nyo rinuli, then pwede ka mong file sa kaso ng theft because it's a crime. So, simple theft without violation of trust and confidence. The qualified naman is taking property of another with violation of trust and confidence. Katulad na lang, qualified theft, halimbawa, maid nyo or kasambahay nyo or empleyado, ako, may ginawa ko dito sa school. Siyempre, the school, the president has trusted me, na hindi ka manggawat, and then may ginawa ka, then you will be qualified or you will be charged for qualified theft. Kasi merong trust and confidence. So, kung halimbawa, gagawatan ka sa best friend mo, qualified theft. Pero kung wala, hindi mo siya kilala, kawakan may ginkuha lang siya or may nagula sa imo, then simple theft. Okay? So, shoplifter is those people or somebody who gets things or property displayed in store without payment. So, these are the things na ginagawa. Okay? Mga shoplifters. Yan. And that's the end of the slide. Okay? So, I hope you have learned something. Let me stop. Now, next meeting.